Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters Business Podcast. This is your host, Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep with my releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today is a very special reunion 2020 episode. What's that? That's when I bring on a guest that I had on the past because I liked him so much I had to bring him right on back. So today's return guest is Max Fitzgerald. He's the broker and CEO and over at Crafton and Bauer Real Estate Company. Max, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Adam. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, so excited to have you back on here for this reunion 2020 episode, and excited also about today's topic, so growing and scaling a small business. I mean, I've seen your growth and what you've been able to accomplish over at Crafton Bauer Real Estate, and a lot of people want to know how you're doing it. But before we get into that, I don't want to assume that the new listeners caught your first episode, so why don't you just give us an overview about what you're doing over at Crafton Bauer?
Sure. Crafton Bauer is a relatively young company. I founded it with a business partner about 14 months ago here. And at the time of inception, it was more kind of a conceptual idea. I had my broker's license, but experience in building or scaling a business. I was a real estate agent before I got my broker's license, so I had a lot of exposure to the real estate, industry as a whole, but not necessarily as a business owner or as a broker. So that's where I needed to lean on my business partner, who had not only experience as a real estate agent, but he was a COO of a medium-sized real estate company out here in Los Angeles, and then. So he had, experience on that end. So we basically joined forces and leaned on each other, so to speak, and built the business up. So right now we are at 9 agents as we speak today in February. We're a little bit more of a hybrid real estate brokerage. I'd say 70% of our agents focus primarily on your residential sales. And then a handful kind of dabble in the commercial space more exclusively. So that's kind of in a nutshell what Crafton Bauer is and how slowly became what it is.
So let's get to today's, thanks for the overview, by the way, and let's get into today's topic. So like you said, 14 months or a little over 14 months, growing and scaling a small business. I mean, not easy to grow at your pace and to do what you're doing. So tell us a little bit more about maybe some of the challenges you've had in terms of and how you've overcome them. Because I think a lot of people listening, they hear this word scaling all the time, right? And growing, there's always like this magical formula. And to me, it's not a magical formula. It's a lot of work, but there are some of these things you learn along the way. So what kind of things have you learned along the way?
Yeah, great question. So I would say the most challenging thing for a real estate agent to do, whether they're at a Compass or a Keller Williams or maybe a more boutique shop, is okay, I've got my license, I'm with a brokerage, whether big or small, but now what do I do? How do I sell real estate, and what specific systems do I use, right? Because there's hundreds of different options, and sometimes it's a little daunting as a real estate agent to kind of really not only get your clients, but get your systems in place as well. So basically the way that we were able to scale the business is my business partners is Dominic Labriola. So Dominic and I basically pre-built out all of we think the best systems that a real estate agent could possibly use in regard to the specific technology. So the data management kind of software, the mass email system, we have artificial intelligence kind of built in around a lot of our tech. So our biggest thing was, hey, let's build out basically all of the tools that someone could use. And then once we have everything built out, then it's just basically a plug and play system for a real estate agent to join us and then have all of the tools at their fingertips and get a lot of individual kind of one-on-one attention. So we're kind of hitting it from a few different angles. But I think our biggest value proposition as a business and what's really allowed us to scale was the fact that all of the technology is at your fingertips. So you can just really expedite the processes of being a real estate agent and streamline that, so to speak. So that's been huge for us.
Oh man, I love that. And so what's interesting to me about you, and it makes sense because I follow your Instagram and I seen your growth and I seen you're always like, I'm adding a new agent or this or that, and I'm like, man, Max is on fire. They're doing something right over there. I got to get them back on the show, see what's going on. My listeners want to know what's going on because you are really doing what you're saying because I've seen it. So that being said, I love that you really turned and this is something like for everybody listening, if you think about when you're starting a business, like you don't have to think in the legacy manner. Like there's a lot of shops that have been around 10, 15 years, more, don't have probably the systems you have in place day one for an agent like right now. And I know because I've seen lots of people that enter the real estate industry and they're kind of stuck with this, okay, now I have to figure it out, right? And then they get their business cards, they might have their little desk space, something, okay, that's great, but all the other stuff you're talking about, that's not part of the deal. That's like, and the reason you know that is because a lot of them, they'll have 10 agents in the same office or however many, doesn't matter, that are all working on different systems, all have different models, so it makes it very fragmented. Whereas what you're doing is you're providing a consistent user experience, which also then translates for the clients into a transition brand experience, which I noticed you're really good at that too. Can you talk a little bit more on the branding side of things?
Yeah. The branding is great for all the listeners who want a little bit of context. It's Craft Bauer, CraftBauer.com, and you can just get a sense of the branding. But before we started recruiting agents, and before we built out our technology suite, I think the biggest thing that we wanted to do was just hone in on our branding and the look and feel, the aesthetics of our brokerage here. So the branding and the marketing and how our brokerage is kind of presented to the public, that was something that we squared away almost immediately, and it took. It wasn't very quick, but it was a few months. It's a lot of work on our end. But yeah, we're part of the branding. It's consistent across our social media, our websites, our business cards. I mean, your whole suite of marketing services. We have two graphic designers that kind of co-spearheaded the look and feel of the brand. So we were patient with that. We didn't want to introduce ourselves as a new company without the proper branding in place. So we're currently, and it kind of continues to evolve as we grow and scale the business. But yeah, I think the branding is top notch on our end.
So when we think about like kind of looking back to when you first started, so first one tip that you had was that I noticed is that you didn't rush it. So you didn't rush your brand, you didn't rush how you promoted, how you kind of put yourself out to the public. Number one, after you had that kind of in line, then and of course everything evolves. But after you had that in line, then you thought about technology. So what's going to be your value add for your agents that come on board? So you created the systems and all the other things on the front end, which would then allow you to do, your automation and all that good stuff, but also to really spend the time to get that one-on-one time with them, so that you're not in terms of coaching and other things, because you're not spending all your time on automation and how do you do an email list, right? Because that's daunting for somebody that's new or that's never done it, especially if they're not from the tech space, which if you're not from, those things are tricky. So then now they have more time for that, and now what the end result is that you have a system that you can continue to bring on new agents, you have a consistent brand, you have a consistent feel and experience for the end client, which is, of course, what all that translates into, which gives you the opportunity to be competitive in a very competitive field. So, no, I love the way you've systematically kind of gone through this. So that being said, is there anything interesting, or what's the goals for 2020? Give us a little bit more of this. So when I bring you back in 2021, we can reflect and see what happened. Give me the news for 2020. What's going on?
Oh, the news. I don't know. And I kind of have this conversation with my business partner all the time. And I think it's maybe not a lesson that's taught in business schools or in entrepreneurial schools, but it's a kind of the lesson that we've gravitated towards in kind of the early inception of the company. Right now we're cash flow positive each month, and we're growing the business at the rate that it's going to grow. I think the most important kind of North Star is not to recruit as many agents as we possibly can and build it up as quickly as we can. I think, during this first year or so of us being a company, we've really developed a more unique company culture. And every employee is a 1099 employee and technically their own boss and a lot more entrepreneurial. But even with the systems that we've put in place, it's a very collaborative working environment. And the agents that we decide to recruit, we're very selective because we always want to maintain this really great company culture that we've established. So to answer your question, Adam, if we can recruit 1 or 2 agents per month that fit the company ethos and, are hard workers, then great. I think that'd be a good goal for us to hit. But moreover, it's as we slowly scale the business, can we really maintain what we've built, right? And once we get to be a medium-sized company, that's going to be harder and harder. But if we can keep the guiding light of, man, we really want to just bring people on that fit who we are as a company, that's generally our goal outside of recruiting metrics or sales metrics or anything like that. So I know that's not really a great answer, maybe, Adam, but that's kind of what's in our head, the best that I can explain it.
No, that's great. That's great, Max. That being said, if somebody is listening to this right now and they want to learn more about Crafton Bauer Real Estate, what's either whether they're agents or whether they're, of course, looking to buy or sell homes, they want to learn more about what you're doing. What's the best route for them to reach out?
Yeah, our website's probably the best route, craftbauer.com. You can send me an email, Max, M-A-X, @craftbauer.com. Or you can check out my Instagram. I usually post as much as I can in terms of what I'm doing in regards to building a business, so I try and give people kind of an inside look there. And my Instagram handle is max.fitzgerald. So that's how people can reach me.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Max, it's been awesome having you back on this 2020 reunion episode. Can't wait to have you back in 2021. We're gonna play this back and say, so what happened this year, Max? Tell me some more. It's all good.
Awesome,
good stuff there. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you had fun listening because we had fun making this for you. If you did, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, give that a subscribe, but also leave us some comments in the comment section on the video. Let us know what you think about scaling and growing small businesses. Don't let the conversation end here. Let's move it on over to the YouTube community. And Max, thanks again for coming on the show.